Prestigious panel with us. Rav David Stav is, of course, the chair and founder of Zohar and the chief rabbi of Shoham. And we're also honored to be joined by Major General Yaakov Amidror. Major General Amidror served as the director of the research department of the IDF military intelligence. And followed by that, he was the National Security Advisor for the government of Israel. And he currently serves as a senior fellow at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategic Studies. So he's obviously a very well experienced and informed person to speak with us this evening. Just in terms of any questions that you might have, you're invited to put them in the chat, write them there, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can over the course of the evening. And with that, I'm honored to introduce Rav Stav, who will lead the discussion with Major General Amidror. So thank you again, and Rav Stav.
Shalom and good evening to everybody here in Israel, and good afternoon to those who are in America and following us and with us. As we all know, we are in the middle of a war. We're actually towards the end of the first week of the operation that was given the name Am Kelavi. As we all remember, these words were given to us by Bil'am, the wicked prophet of the am I here? People hear me? It's fine, German. As we all know, these words were given to us by the wicked prophet Bil'am that saw the Jewish people and um, realized in what bad shape they will be found in different times in their history. And yet, he could have seen 1,000 years ago that from the worst situations, they will get up just like the lion that was resting or was sleeping or was falling apart. And from the worst situation, they will get up and give a fight to those who try to defeat them. I don't have to share with you what were the feelings that we felt the day after October 7th. And we asked ourselves, what was Hashem doing to us? And so many shiurim, so many classes were given to try to explain, to try to understand. Um, wait a minute, יעקב עמידרור is... בועז, הוא אומר שהוא לא קיבל את הלינק.
אני מולו.
מה זה?
אני
You gave
מטפל,
it to him?
תמשיך.
Wait a minute, so I'm just making sure that he got that Amidror wants to participate and is. Wait a minute. Okay, I just sent it to him. And we all remember these terrible events that occurred to us in October 7th. And we asked ourselves, what happened to us? What was Hashem doing to us? And a lot of answers, theological, social, religious answers were given to these kind of questions. I dare to say that today, in a long-term perspective, after a year and a half of the beginning of that war in October 7th, it's not that we get an answer that could satisfy us and could change our approach to the terrible loss and to the terrible massacre. But we know for sure that if we had to fight against Iran today and to fight against Iran 2 years ago, when all the proxies were so strong with the missiles, with the rockets, to have this war against Iran when our enemies from the north, Syria and Lebanon, are all defeated, and when our enemy from the south Hamas is almost defeated. To have a war under these circumstances is a completely different story. So we are quite humble. We don't understand the ways of Hashem, but we definitely understand that today to have this war against Iran is a complete different story than having this war 2 years ago. You know that En Baal Hanes Mekir Ben Iso, the one that the miracle occurs to him, doesn't recognize his miracles. That's what the Gemara says. I think today we live in an era of miracles. To think that all the predictions of all the experts to the government before the war broke out were that in a case of a war, we will lose at least hundreds of people, billions of dollars that will be spent, will be lost. I don't know. I don't want to talk about the numbers of pilots that might be killed. And today, a week after we started, to see the tremendous achievement is Me'et Hashem. There is only one verse to describe this. Me'et Hashem hayta zot iniflat beinenu. That does not mean that we don't have to praise and we don't have to thank our pilots and our government and our soldiers that were doing so with so courageous behavior and brave decisions that and brilliant initiatives that were doing such an amazing job, including the Mossad agents and the intelligence forces. And I don't know who else was involved in this in order to thank him on behalf of the Jewish people. So now Yaakov Amitror is with us. I guess we will have a lot of questions to ask him, but we will allow him and we will ask him, first of all, to describe from his point of view. Yaakov, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I am.
Yes, you are. Okay, thank you. So just maybe you have to open your screen. Please
Okay.
try to explain us.
I apologize that a little bit late. I just finished to brief my neighbors. Is the English speakers big shul in Ra'anana, Ohel Ari.
So Yaakov, just if I would like to, since it's already the second time we have this conversation, this discussion this week, I would like to refer or to respond to the question that I guess many people all in Israel and all over the world ask themselves: A, why was it so urgent to do it now? Why didn't we do it a year ago? And maybe why couldn't we wait another year? And the second question that I would like to ask you: is it possible to finish this work, this mission of defeating the Iranian nuclear threat, without the American assistance?
It's easier to answer the second question. It was very short. The answer is yes, but less decisive than if it done by the Americans. There are some capabilities relating to the heaviest bombs that we don't have and the Americans have, and if that use against the Fordo facility, the damage that will be done by the Americans is much more than the damage that will be done by us. Other than that, all the other areas we can do without the Americans. Without Americans' active action within the war, we need all the aeroplanes that we are flying to Iran and back are American made. But I mean, to finish the job relating to the nuclear capability of Iran, there is one facility in Fordo that we cannot destroy, and if there is an air force that can do it, it's an if. I'm not familiar with all the capabilities of the Americans, but if there is one, it is the American Air Force, and for that they need the decision of the president. Other than that, we can do the job with a lot of help from America, and there are American units here defending Israel from missiles. I don't know, 25, 30% of the interception is done by American units. But in attacking Iran and destroying the facilities, we can do the job. We can do the job, but there is one unique place in which we need the Americans to do the job. About why now and why how and so on and so forth. Look, the war was imposed in Israel in the 7th of October. We didn't initiate it. It is a result of a long process by the Iranians. The Iranians' strategy was with two legs. One, to have nuclear military capability. And the second one is to build around Israel ring of fire that will allow the Iranians to stay far away. Between the two borders, there are 1,200 kilometers. To Tehran, it's another, I don't know, 200 kilometers. Iran is far away. The ring of fire is around Israel. Hamas, Islamic Jihad in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Iranians and Shiites in Syria, Syria itself, Shiite militias in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, all of them under kind of coordination of Iran. When it is Hezbollah, it's full control. When it is Hamas, it's just helping Hamas to be stronger, but there is no direct control of the Iranians on Hamas, and so on and so forth. What happened is that the axis was very strong. We understood that the axis is very strong. We acted aggressively against the element in Syria. We didn't act against the Hezbollah at all. And with Hamas, we were very careful. Why? We understood that the axis is strong, and we didn't want to test it. And we understood that the Iranians are going slowly towards having nuclear military capability. And because of the axis capabilities, we were very cautious. We understood that attacking Iran, meaning to have a war with Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas and so on and so forth. So we were very cautious. Some might say too cautious. In the war itself, we changed the whole structure of the area. Hamas disappeared as a threat to Israel. Hamas is not relevant as a threat to Israel. It's very relevant inside the Gaza Strip. No one can go into Gaza Strip and to rebuild it because Hamas is controlling the Gaza Strip. But they lost the ability to attack Israel. They cannot attack Israel not by on ground and not by missiles. They lost it. They are not relevant. Hezbollah became very weak.
What I have on?
Sorry, mute yourself. Mute yourself, please. Hezbollah became very, very weak because we succeeded to eliminate the whole leadership from Nasrallah down. They don't have the old leadership, which was at the beginning of the war, does not exist. And we succeeded to destroy, I don't know, 70% of its missiles and launchers, so on and so forth. And then something happened that it didn't plan. The collapse of the Assad regime in Syria disconnected Hezbollah from Iran. The land bridge which exist from Tehran through Baghdad to Damascus and Beirut does not exist anymore. There is no such a bridge anymore. King Abdullah of Jordan called it the Shiite crescent. There is no crescent. There are Shiites, but no crescent. And Hezbollah is alone in Lebanon under the pressure of the new government, under the pressure of Israel. We are very aggressive in Lebanon based on the agreement which was agreed with American guarantors. And Hezbollah now is in the mood of how to survive, not how to attack Israel. So the whole ring of fire collapsed totally. does not exist. I mean, totally. Some, the Houthis from time to time are launching missiles into Israel. That's all. Since the end of November, the Iraqis didn't let any Shiite militia to launch anything against Israel. They understood how weak is Iran. That was what happening to Erdogan. Erdogan understood that Assad is very weak because Hezbollah is very weak and Iran is weak, and he sent the rebels, told them, go down. They went to Haleb and they found themselves taking Damascus. So the whole landscape is a different landscape. And what happened practically from the military point of view is not just that we don't have to deal with all our neighbors. We finished with it. What we have now is a free corridor without any opposition from Israel through Syria, Iraq to Iran. And we can fly directly to Iran without having any problem on our way. No radar installation to tell the Iranians, guys, the Israelis are coming. And no missiles to deal with because they don't have. Because after the collapse of the regime in Syria, we destroyed all the facilities and the weapon systems of the old Assad regime army. And the new regime doesn't have any ability. I'm not sure that they want, because Iranians are enemies of this regime as well as they are enemies of Israel. But
Yaakov, can I interrupt you for a minute? Because I see many questions. Part of them are relating to what you said.
Just a minute. In 2 minutes, I'm finished.
No problem.
So that was the situation on the ground before we made the decision about the war in Iran. What happened is that during the last few, months, we understood that the Iranians understand the new situation. And as an answer to the new situation, they decided 2 decisions which were critical from our point of view. One, to accelerate the nuclear project, mainly relating to the weaponization stuff. And second, to build huge infrastructure to produce in Iran thousands of missiles, many thousands of missiles. And for us, it was a devastating situation. We cannot cope with thousands of heavy missiles like those which landed in Israel, and each of them is half a ton. It's a huge problem. And here it was understood, if it is now or never, and if it is not now, we will lose the ability to cope with the Iranians. And that was the decision. It was prepared in the last, 6 months before the last 6 months. And the decision was taken a few weeks before the operation began. This is the time we are going, when the president said Iranians have 60 days to get to the agreement. We attacked at the day 61. And now I am ready to answer the question. This is the framework of the war.
Thank you so much. Jeremy, could you read a few of the questions relating to what Yaakov Amidror was saying?
Sure. So there's a question regarding the Fardo plant specifically. How did we allow this secret nuclear facility to be constructed, and is the only way to destroy it from the air?
The answer to the second question, I don't know. If someone has another idea, I will be happy to learn. The first one, the decision was not taken any decision to go to war with Iran. If you do it in a sovereign state, the meaning of it is a war. And this is why we went to war against Iran now, to destroy it.
No, the question was, if I understand, didn't we have ways to avoid them from arriving to that position?
We didn't have. Well, a country is deciding to make big tunnel. What it will do? It's a big tunnel. It's not something that they have to improve something and to import something from outside. It's a big tunnel under the mountain.
Jeremy?
Okay, and someone asked if we view Hamas as irrelevant as a real threat, why are we still investing in Gaza and sending troops?
No, because if we leave now Gaza Strip, Hamas will be the controller of the one which won't control Gaza Strip. And within few years, they will regain the capabilities. The only way to guarantee that in the future, Hamas will not be again the Hamas of the 7th of October is to kill them all and to make all the arrangements that they will not control Gaza. So we have to continue the war to eliminate Hamas totally, that Hamas will not control Gaza in the future. Today, Hamas is the strongest force inside Gaza Strip, and everyone which wants to go in to have kind of an alternative to the Hamas has to fight Hamas. No one is ready to do it.
If you allow me, Jeremy, are there any other questions?
No, not yet. Any
Nothing.
other?
Okay, so I would like to continue the discussion and asking you, Mr. Amidror, seeing what happens today in the Israeli society. I know that your expertise not in the Israeli society, but in military issues.
You are the expert for the Israeli society.
Come on, okay. I want to ask you. When we go to war, usually it's expected that the society will be united behind its leadership, etc., etc. Knowing what happened in the last 2 years, do you find our society prepared to this kind of a war with all the prices that we might pay?
Look, the war up till the decision to go to Iran was kind of en bera. It was imposed on Israel. It was not our decision. It was the decision of Hamas to attack us in the 7th of October and the decision of Nasrallah to enter to the war, not in full gear, but to be there and to attack Israel. About Iran, I think that the notion within the decision makers was that because everyone in Israel understand how important and how crucial was Iran promoting both Hezbollah and Hamas. And everyone in Israel asked, okay, what about the head of the snake? Okay, this is the snake. You deal with the snake, Hamas and Islamic Jihad and Iran and Hezbollah, but what about the head of the snake? And I think that it was very easy to understand that within the Israeli society, there is a huge support to go on Iran. How to go, how far to go, we can argue, but basically it was understood, and you could see it in every corner of the state and every conversation with people. Yes, we have to deal with Iran. I think that many people didn't understand what does it mean. They didn't see the 400 missiles, heavy missiles coming into Israel. But it was clear within the society that Israel will have to deal with Iran. And now is the time.
Jeremy, I see that there are many other questions, so could you...
Yeah, so two questions, related questions are exactly how the Iranian Air Force was destroyed, and is that related to the fact that...
There is no something like Iranian Air Force. They had very, very old American plans, and they didn't get spare parts, and then there is no any relevant Air Force in Iran.
Okay. Do you believe that by overthrowing and assassinating the Ayatollah, this will lead to the end of the war?
No. Iran is not Hezbollah. Nasrallah was the axis of the axis. Khamenei, if he will be killed somehow, I don't know who will do it, but if he will be killed, there is an apparatus around him, and they will make a decision immediately who will take responsibility. And unlike Hezbollah, the system will continue to work. This is why we eliminated so many commanders around him, that the whole command and control system will not work as it is supposed to work. And no question, it will be very problematic for a newcomer to continue with the war, but it will not bring to the collapse of the system. I don't know where is the tipping point in which the collapse that we have now on the Iranians. We are killing their leaders. We are killing their scientists. We are destroying infrastructure. We are moving people within Tehran. Guys, this street has to move from within 4 hours. I mean, the Iranians see that we are controlling the skies of Iran. How strong is the effect on the regime and the relations between the regime and the people? And will the elimination of Khamenei will be this point in which everything will be different? I don't know. It's a question that there is no answer to it. No one will cry in Israel if he will be killed.
I think a question on many people's minds is how would a victory or this element of the war impact on the ability to get back the hostages?
I think that only remote influence. If it will be full capitulation of Iran, and it will be clear that it is the end of the Iranian regime long plan to build and to help and to be ready to be involved with proxies around Israel, maybe some people in Gaza will say, guys, we lost the big ally, and let's find a solution. This is the only way that I can see an influence on the hostages problem.
I posted a question. Can I ask it, please?
Yes, of course.
My question was, we are flying, the IAF, the Israeli Air Force, is flying some planes which are in its inventory, which are 50 years old. How do we manage to do that? I mean, most of the planes of the same types of aircraft in other air forces are retired. But the reason that we're so strong is because we have a few hundred aircraft that we can fly.
What is the question?
What is the
question? What is the question?
The question is, how do we do it?
How we do it?
Yes.
We pray Shacharit in the morning and walk the whole day.
Next question. There have been reports over the last few hours that the U.S. and Iran are speaking directly. How would that renewed diplomacy affect the continued war effort?
We don't stop. If it will be a good agreement at the end, it's a very good end to the war. If it will be an agreement in which it will be clear that it is eliminating all the infrastructure of the Iranians relating to the nuclear capability, that they cannot build missiles longer range than 1,000 kilometers, and that Israel has the right to act in Iran whenever the Iranians are violating the agreement, it's a very good agreement from our point of view. If that will be the end of the war, thank God. Look, it's very important to understand, we are not trigger-happy guys. We know the price. Each of us has family members or friends or both in the graveyards in Israel. Almost all of us. I remember the first meeting with my counterpart in the White House. I told him, Tom, if you bring a good agreement, we will be more than happy. The problem is that they brought very bad agreement, but if a good agreement is a fantastic solution from our point of view. The problem is that American brought, at the end of the day, a bad agreement, and now they have to work with the new administration. They will bring a good agreement. They have very good cards, by the way, because we did the dirty job, as was described by the Chancellor of Germany.
People are asking, in your assessment, will President Trump activate the U.S. military in this campaign?
You have to ask. You have to ask people in America. I don't have a clue about it.
I would like to ask you, what would you ask the American jury if people are watching us now? What would you ask them, if at all, to do regarding asking their representatives?
I have a clear answer. The real test of Israel, the minute after the war, will be how we are reviving our economy. There is huge damage to our economy. It cost us billions of dollars. The war itself. to compensate for the damage. The dead and the injured Israelis. Huge economic burden. If the jury around the world can do one thing to help Israel, we don't tell them to join the IDF. It's too late. What's important for us? Invest in Israel, in the economy, not buy an empty apartment in Jerusalem. Invest in the economy, in Israeli companies, in startups. If we succeed to revive the economy and to be stronger in the future, that will be the real victory in the war. If we invest billions around Gaza and in the north and rebuild it, if we will take all these buildings which had been shattered by the Iranian missiles, many of them, by the way, and build a new buildings and surrounding them, that will be the real victory. If there is one thing that the jury around the world can do to help Israel after the war, invest in Israeli economy. No charity. Charity is very good. If you give charity, thank you. But what is needed is to invest in the Israeli economy. New companies, new startups, old companies, to make Israel flourish again. You know how much money we know that we have to invest to be to be in a situation in which we are not so dependent on others, only in the security side, around $100 billion. Not in 1 year, of course. But in 10 years, this is the amount of money which is needed. We need strong economy to support the ability of Israel to survive in the future, to flourish and to be stronger. So if the one demand or expectation from the Jews around the world, invest in the Israeli market. I'm not against charity. I'm not against empty apartment in Jerusalem. There are many. But invest in the market, invest in companies, invest in startups.
I would like to share with you an anecdote with all the people that follow us. I went now to a store. It's in continuation to what Yaakov Amidror was saying. I went to an optometrist, which his store is almost empty, and just like many other businesses that are now empty. And he shared with me an anecdote. The owner of the store, he said to me, nobody comes here. But this afternoon, I had almost a miracle. An Israeli customer came over to me, and he bought glasses. The price was around 700 shekels. He gave me a check, or he gave me with credit 10,000 shekels. And I said to him, I don't want charity. He said, no, I give you a credit that for the glasses for the next 2 years that my family will buy here. And I started to cry. That people understand that what the small businesses and the big businesses need are actually some air to the businesses so that they will be able to continue and to survive. It's a part of a very, very strong spirit that exists here in the Israeli society that despite all the difficulties and despite all the prices, and we see the pictures from Ramat Gan and from Beersheba in Soroka Hospital and Petach Tikva and Bat Yam, despite all these buildings that were destroyed, we see that the Israeli spirit is very high, and we see a huge a patriotic awakeness, a Jewish awakeness that requires us to be better and requires us to be supportive and to require us to show more and more solidarity. And I think if there is no more questions, I would like to thank Mr. Amidror, that I'm sure that he's in his way to the next conversation with another group, Israeli or American, and to thank you all for participating with us, and we hope and look forward to see you all here soon.
Thank you very much. The truth is that I'm going to Maariv now in 2 minutes,
which is not less important.
We finish earlier, so I'm going to Maariv now, and then yes, for another meeting tomorrow. I have a briefing for Indian television, and the second one is from, where they are from? From America. It's a podcast in America. I don't know the guy, but he applied that he wants to speak with me in the podcast. So we will have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amidror, for being always
Thank you very
so
much for the
friendly,
opportunity.
cooperative with us. Thank you. תודה רבה.
בבקשה,
שלום,
רב.
שלום.